Breaking news. Anambra State Native Doctors Association gathered together as they visit SOLUDO, saying that if SOLUDO should imprison them, that all of them are going to disappear from the prison, that SOLUDO must tell them why they are being maltreated the way they are being treated. Hey, guys.
All right, well, good morning to you viewers. Let's begin what's trending. In the United States, with this bizarre video shared by Donald Trump on his Truth Social. It's an AI-generated video depicting a transformed Gaza Strip, reimagined as a luxurious resort destination named Trump Gaza. The video also features golden statues of Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu lounging on a sunbed. Let's take a look.
Set you free, bringing the light for all to see. No more tunnels, no more fear. Trump Gaza is finally here. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza, number one. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza, number one.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh, but I mean, you cannot be surprised by Donald Trump. I mean, really, it is AI generated, we all know, but he posted it, meaning he's endorsing it. He is endorsing that video. And we're here talking about the fact that, the Gaza Strip, people are talking about genocide, and you are posting videos with your golden statue.
Oh my God.
Epic Trump.
Woe betide a nation whose leader is a fool. That's just what is happening. So that means you are dancing on the graves of the people that crumbled in the buildings of Gaza. You are dancing on the graves of people that were massacred, that the whole world feels this is akin to Auschwitz. Mm. You are dancing with the lives of people decimated and packed to a corner. And there, in that video, you're also celebrating with another conspirator that helped destroy Gaza and put it in ruins. Mm-hmm. What you are saying is it's fair to pee on the graves of the dead kids in Gaza and the people that they'll never have their lives back.
Yeah, the children were there in the video as well.
And all you are doing this is you're also showing cult worship. Bronze gold statue of Trump. That reminds you of the Bible, right? Mm-hmm. Bronze statue of Trump and all sorts going on there in a land that has been disputed for so many years. Mm-hmm. Once again, I repeat, woe betide a nation whose leader is a fool.
Rufai, I think that, you're not alone with your criticism. A lot of people have criticized this actual video. Even though it's AI, like I said, he endorsed it. Meanwhile, on Tuesday, Donald Trump handed out face caps. At the Oval Office, the caps had the texts, "Trump was right about everything," written on them. He said they were sent to him by a fan.
Give me all of them. Look. Yeah. See that? Trump was right about everything. It just came in. Somebody said, this was sent in by a fan. I said, I think we should make some of them, right? But we were, pretty much. You want one?
I'll pass.
Are you allowed to take one? Because he'll consider it. I know him well. He's sort of a stiff. Brian, you're not a stiff. You're sort of a stiff guy. He'll take other things, but not a free hand.
Always say yes to the president. Always say yes to the president.
Would anybody like one?
A man who thinks he's right about everything is in danger, really. Professor Anthony Killer.
Well, this is Donald Trump. This is vintage Trump, the real Trump. The tragedy is the other people that voted him in. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, some people will be happy seeing this, and maybe this is what new is all about. We're used to the idea of the president, the strongest president in the world, being serious, being thoughtful, being very deliberate about everything he does. But Trump is, everything except serious, thoughtful, deliberate, or institutional.
Except serious, thoughtful, deliberate, or institutional. You hit it. Yeah.
And that is Trump. He's also a real estate developer. And he looks at Gaza, and what comes to his mind is how can we turn the slum to gold and make money out of it? And that is Trump. Mm-hmm. Cheers to all those who voted him.
Cheers to all those who voted. I mean, yesterday he was hailed about the, $5 million gold card, which I love the initiative.
Yeah,
I do love the initiative because, I mean, if I were president, I would sell my country like that. I mean, you're underrating America. Are you underrating?
I'm not
I would
underrating
sell
America.
America that
what
way.
I said was that he was overrating America. And I totally agree with people who say that rather than take the $5 million, because I didn't have an opportunity to speak on this.
Yes.
Take the $5 million, use it to invest in your own country.
Right.
That is the most, I hope, $5 million, invest in your nation and provide and make your nation great again.
Well, these are billionaires. I'm sure that
they have more than enough.
They have enough to share, really.
But can I just say something about Trump and just on a side note?
Right.
We often criticize African leaders for naming institutions or things after themselves, saying that it's hero worship, self-worship. So we can see that it's not just an African problem.
Right.
Part of the issue, I mean, he's already named it Trump, Gaza.
Yes.
He's named a number of things. Now he's self-efficaciing, whereby anything that has to do with him, he's not ashamed to promote
but
it.
This is typical Trump. Have you been to America?
Have you been to New York?
Have you been to New York?
All the buildings are named Trump International. This is New York.
I think an important point is to remember here. In his mind, he would name everything Trump.
Absolutely.
Yes, now.
That is in his mind. The reason why he cannot do it is that in America, there are laws that guide naming public institutions after yourself. And I think Nigeria and the rest of Africa need to wake up to that law.
Right.
For example, I argue that if you don't build something, don't rename it.
Right.
I argue that anybody in public office should have nothing named after them whilst they're there.
Right. All right. Well said, Professor Killer. You were screaming about Trump Tower. I mean, if you go to New York and drive down the West Side Highway, it's Trump Tower all the way. He really knows how to sell himself. Well, in the United Kingdom, Conservative Party leader Kemi Badenoch faced an embarrassing moment at Parliament when she challenged Prime Minister Keir Starmer over the hike in defense spending on Wednesday. Badenoch had questioned the Prime Minister over the exact amount of the hike and suggested that the Prime Minister had listened to her advice on using international aid money for defense. Well, in response, Keir Starmer said that Badenoch never crossed his mind. Let's take a look before we come back for a discussion.
Over the weekend, I suggested to the Prime Minister that he cut the aid budget, and I'm pleased that he accepted my advice. Mr. Speaker, it's the fastest response. It's the fastest response I've ever had from the Prime Minister. However, he announced £13.4 billion in additional defence spending yesterday. This morning, his Defence Secretary said the uplift is only £6 billion, which is the correct figure.
Prime Minister. I'm going to have to let the Leader of the Opposition down gently. She didn't feature in my thinking at all. I was so busy over the weekend I didn't even see her proposal. I think she's appointed herself, saviour of the Western civilization. It's a desperate search for relevance. But, Mr. Speaker,
She has appointed herself as a savior of Western civilization. Rufai, I mean, I don't know what that was. That was the most embarrassing thing I've seen so far at Parliament.
Wow, she's appointed herself as the savior of Western civilization. Kemi is a joke. Honestly, Kemi Badenoch is a joke. So this is the same defense spending a lot of people have praised Keir Starmer for. And the truth is, it's taking some part, I think 0.2%, like we said, 0.3% out to be able to shore up defense spending. In 2027, there's going to be an increase in defense spending. I think Kemi is suffering from her own personal identity crisis, number one. Secondly, she doesn't even have a full grasp of the issues. And that's why Keir Starmer just looks at her and says, who is this one talking? This is something that there was a unanimous consensus to support. Even the most right-wing of right-wing reform did give kudos to him on this. So what is Kemi saying here? That's how she misinterprets most of the arguments and everything. I think she should go and learn how to be a very productive leader. And that's why you were giving out the stat the other day. About 20% really acknowledges her as someone that can be a viable leader.
Right.
If there's a race for leadership now, I'm in the Conservative Party, I'm not sure Kemi will be able to stand it because she's done an appalling job. She's not taking the issues on. Mm-hmm. You know, she's gone on to be like this warrior for cultural issues, which she should not be doing. She entirely missed that point. Her policies have not landed, and it's just a big problem. So you see they keep making a joke of her, and this is one of the most hilarious, beat downs I've ever seen. That I didn't even acknowledge you. And that's what we keep saying to the lady.
Okay, go ahead.
She can't keep acting like a playboy from the southwestern world, like Blake Shelton sings.
So I really enjoy watching PMQs, Prime Minister's Question Time. And I actually think that Kemi has done quite well at PMQs. In fact, I would say that as leader of the Conservative, leader of the opposition party, it's been her finest moment in being able to hold Keir Starmer to account. Unfortunately, this particular outing wasn't in her favor. And from that video, you see that she took it quite well. Maybe she didn't hear him properly before she smiled about him saying that he didn't even give her a thought. In actual fact, the Conservatives and the Labour Party are in alignment with defence spending. What she was asking him for clarity on was the disparity with what he had said and one of his ministers had said. He had said they were cutting 13.4 or adding 13.4 billion pounds to defence spending. The other person had said 6 billion pounds. So she was trying to clarify that. I don't think she disagreed with him. I think she just was trying to say that, are you people telling the truth, or are you is there a consensus? I think she's a very brilliant woman. I believe that she speaks really well. Her questions are very forthright and usually would ruffle, I say usually, and would usually ruffle Keir Starmer in Parliament. She has done well in terms of Q&A with Keir Starmer, so I have to give her that. She's a brilliant woman, you have to give her that. You might not agree with her position on a number of things, and I think it's quite tongue-in-cheek for Keir Starmer to say that she has assigned herself as the savior of Western civilization. I can see that happening, and that's what we've criticized on this show. But I don't think I would ever, I wouldn't question her intelligence. Yeah. She's always performed really well. I quite enjoy her interactions with Keir Starmer during PMQs. So
well, I think this whole contribution was, the conversation that actually Trump raised about defense contributions. Trump had urged European nations to increase their contributions, and we see here that also Trump is going to meet with Keir Starmer as well. So, I thought that was a good way that Kemi Badenoch drilled Keir Starmer in that moment. What about you? You were saying that the Rufai was not being fair.
Yeah, I think Kemi Badenoch is okay. I think she's good.
Really?
She just, I think she's a great politician. She just needs to learn to understand more of the issues. She just needs to stop proving herself to people. She just needs to learn to be a true conservative. She just needs to be a better British person and not somebody proving to be British. Take away all that, and I think it's fantastic.
All right, Kemi Badenoch got a vote of confidence from Professor Anthony Killer.
Really?
Wait, I didn't hear what you said. What did you say?
Which PMQs have you been watching?
Especially when
she's really good at drilling, That's what I was saying, that she's been doing well.
I think it's good. There have been better conservative leaders. But she's good.
On the pecking order, in the last couple of years, she's one of the worst I've seen. In fact, I think it's a contest between her and Liz Truss. That's how terrible she is.
Yes,
secondly,
I think she's winning with Liz Truss.
I will say because she's my Nigerian side, she's winning with Liz Truss. But secondly, on the pecking order, she's got no grasp of the issues. Till today, they say asking about her policy document. She's got no articulation on the policy document.
Once she learns that, will you like her?
Trust me.
All right. Well, Kemi Badenoch, Dr. Vati will say, has been bad enough. Kemi Badenoch. Well, all right. Let's now highlight a major achievement here in Nigeria. The National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure on Wednesday announced that the first made in Nigeria helicopter is nearing completion. The announcement was made during a focus group engagement in Kaduna State. The event was attended by inventors and manufacturers drawn from academia and private sectors to promote local manufacturing, innovation, and the adoption of made-in-Nigeria products. Government officials, industry leaders, and innovators were also in attendance, discussing policies that will drive Nigeria's industrial and technological growth. Please, I want to give a round of applause for this. This was a great announcement that was made by the short is Nasina. Right? But Nigerians have reacted. I know you want to speak on this, but I'll just take this tweet so that we'll wrap up the conversation. This is from Professor Chinwe. She wrote, "Fantastic news. At this rate, we'll soon have made in Nigeria spaceships heading to Mars." But before we all start clapping, let's ask the real questions. What's the supply chain for this helicopter? Are we manufacturing the core components, or is it another assembled in Nigeria project with imported parts? What's the maintenance plan? Or will it be like our refineries, completed but never fully functional? Innovation is great, but sustainability is better. Let's make sure this isn't just a headline stunt, but a real step towards industrial self-sufficiency. Until then, I'll be watching this helicopter economy from a safe distance, while Naseni is working to develop homegrown technology to reduce the country's over-reliance on foreign products, with many innovative solutions already deployed across various sectors. I just needed to put that caveat out. They're all about indigenous, but I don't know why you guys are laughing.
No, you know why
let Professor Anthony speak quickly. And you tell me why
just a quick announcement. I'm, like everybody, I'm
Yes.
delighted about this development.
Right.
Interestingly, the strategy focus group,
Yes.
there's another one happening in Lagos today, and I'll be speaking there
Okay.
later on.
Fantastic.
I'll remind you of what Chinwe Obiaku says about the sustainability
You'll
and the
remind them,
supply
yes.
chain. And that's what I'll be bringing today.
Fantastic.
My paper is actually titled Sustainability in Made in Nigeria.
Fantastic. Made in Nigeria. Why are you laughing?
So this
Rufy
is
on
why I was
fire.
laughing.
Go ahead.
See, don't pressure me. I'll tell you why I was laughing. Why I was laughing was because many years ago, you can Google this. Hadi Sirika said that we start producing planes in Nigeria a couple of years ago. Until today,
You haven't seen the plane?
I've not seen the leke fly. So I just hope this is not another Adi Sirika speak that Naseni is saying. I hope, I'm happy, but I hope.
No.
And the helicopter economy, I just hope we can produce it quickly so that this oil company will be buying Nigeria-made aerocopter.
Must you be violent all
No,
the time?
it's
Must
aerocopter, not helicopter.
Helicopter. Let me help. Helicopter.
Helicopter.
Well, I mean, I think I would say kudos, really, because that's all we really need
I'd
to
say
do.
kudos too.
Is this made in Nigeria product? And they have promised that they are trying not to be reliant on foreign products, meaning that even the components will be made in Nigeria. I sincerely hope so. Well, in the same vein, Dangote Peugeot Automobiles Nigeria Limited, the official manufacturer and marketer of Peugeot vehicles in Nigeria, has begun assembling the GT model of the Peugeot 3008, a globally successful and award-winning SUV. The vehicle is being assembled at the Dangote state-of-the-art assembly plant in Kaduna State again. The development marks a significant step in Dangote's commitment to boosting local vehicle production and enhancing Nigeria's auto industry. Dangote Peugeot began production with the relaunch of the Peugeot brand in Nigeria, starting with the local assembly of the Peugeot 301 at its Kaduna plant. The company has since expanded its lineup to include the Landtrack pickup 3008, 5008, and the latest 508 models. I mean, come on, this is what we need to see. I mean, first of all, I actually did not even realize until I saw this news that this assembly plant has been around since, and Peugeot has really never left Nigeria at this point. I mean, we grew up with Peugeot. I believe 504. That's the one I believe we grew up with. And the assembly plant, again, is in Kaduna State. Kudos to Aliko Dangote on this feat. And, you know, I'd like to take the other conversation to join this conversation with the feat of the Dangote Petroleum on Wednesday announced a significant reduction in the ex-depot price of petroleum motor spirit by 65 naira, bringing it down from 890 to 825 naira per litre. The adjustment marks the second price reduction by the refinery in February 2025. The price cut, effective from February 27, 2025, is intended to ease financial burden on Nigerians, especially with the upcoming Ramadan season. Well, according to the refinery, the new pricing will vary by region. 860 naira per litre in Lagos, 870 naira in the southwest, 880 naira in the north, and 890 naira in the South and Southeast. Another contribution. I see you smiling.
I'm really happy about these developments. Starting off from this is almost like the good news segment.
Good news segment. I put it early.
Yeah, fantastic, because starting from the helicopters to the assembling of the Peugeot cars, and then now reduction in petrol price for Nigerians. These are the kind of things that we want to hear. And I do believe that we need to raise more. And so first of all, let me give him his flowers before I talk about raising. Alhaji Aliko Dangote for his efforts in nation building. It shows that you don't have to be in politics to make your own contribution to making the country work again. We often talk about enabling business environment so that we can see more manufacturing sector organizations thrive, and we can actually begin to produce here in Nigeria. Nigeria has a lot of potential. We have a lot of the natural resources and minerals that we don't have to export, and others are able to make something out of where we can actually do it back home in Nigeria. Now, when it comes to that, I'll then say that we need to raise more people like Dangote. Imagine if we had like 5, 10 of them, and one man is making such a mark. Imagine how much more people who are, and it's not for a lack of them being around, it's a lack of opportunity or an environment for them to actually be able to thrive. So we need to see this a lot more. I remember in the past, we need to have even another company brand, another car brand assemble here, more of them. Absolutely. What I'm hoping is that it would also influence the price of vehicles. Yes. In recent times, it is at a time where you could get a brand new car for 6 million naira just about 10 years ago. Now, I think a brand new car averagely would go for about 15 million naira.
Really? Brand new car?
Well, I mean, how much will that go?
Brand new car is nothing less than 36, 37.
No, I'm talking about the one that used to be. There was a particular brand that when they came out, because they assembled in Nigeria,
even that one is well over 30.
It's about 15 to 20. So it's important that we're able to, when we do it locally, we eliminate the cost of, imports and are able to sell at a cheaper price and, bridge that gap between the rich and the poor in Nigeria, which is quite fantastic. Now, let me just speak to the differing prices in oil so that people don't say that, they are favoring one part to another part. It's also as a result of cost of, the movement cost, transportation cost. Lagos is where the Dangote refinery is, at least closest to. Now, if you calculate or add the add-on cost of transportation to other parts of the country, you can then understand the disparity with prices. So maybe this is also a move to asking for diversification of how petroleum products are moved around the country so that we can see an even or level playing ground for. But, I mean, really great news. I'm really happy to talk about this morning.
Well said, Ayo. And, of course, what would we say? Kudos, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, and happy Ramadan to Nigerians. Well, in another development, as the crackdown on the sale and distribution of substandard and illicit pharmaceutical products takes center stage, the Director General of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, has raised the alarm over threats to her life. Professor Adeyeye spoke during a State House briefing at the presidential villa in Abuja on Wednesday. She said that NAFDAC had recently seized illicit medicines worth over 1 trillion naira in the ongoing crackdown, and that powerful individuals benefiting from the illegal trade are behind the threat. Legal trade are behind the threat.
Which is, of course, I've mentioned the hazards that we face every day. I told you about the attempted murder about 6 months ago. One of our staff in Kano, the child was kidnapped because the father was doing what he's supposed to do. Fortunately, the child escaped. So, for me, I have 2 police living in my house 24/7 in Abuja and Lagos. I would say I don't have life. I cannot go anywhere without police. To me, that is not my way of living. But I don't have a choice because we've got to save our country. We've got to save our country and not be fearful.
We have to save our country and protect Professor Adeyeye. I mean, she says she cannot go anywhere without the police. At this point in our society, this is not what we need to hear from a woman who is doing what she's supposed to do to protect us, Nigerians, from dying. Professor Killer.
well, dying and killer. But anyway, I think we said earlier on, let me repeat again, that the appeal should be directly to the Chief Security Officer of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to make sure that Professor Adeyeye is fully protected and really, untouchable by criminals. But let us also say that we, the people, also have we have a duty of protecting her, image, of protecting our voice, and defending our work wherever it does, and not to be railroaded, gaslighted, or anything by other people to tarnish what she's doing. It has to be clear that we can make suggestions. I have said that our operations has to be surgical, swift, and transparent, but we all have to agree that she's doing the right thing. She's the one fighting the right war. And we also have to agree that those people in that trillion naira industry that are making money from selling fake drug from people's debt are our enemies. They are worse than, at best, at par with terrorists, nothing less. And we have to treat them that way.
Yes.
And they have to know we're at war with them.
Absolutely, I agree with you. They are definitely at par with terrorists. Well, in the meantime, 4 traders at the market in Onitsha, Anambra State, have sued the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control and Standard Organization of Nigeria, NAFDAC Southeast Zonal Director, Dr. Martins Iluyomade, and the Anambra State Commandant of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps. They filed a case at the Federal High Court in Awka, alleging unlawful interference in their fundamental human rights following the closure of the market. The traders also accused NAFDAC officials of theft during the enforcement operation. I mean, this is what we knew was going to happen. I mean, I think these are just 4 traders. I'm sure there's going to be more lawsuits because it was like a whole raid and a close down of the Anambra. I mean, in as much as we keep trying our best to make sure that we follow these processes, I mean, rule of law have to be obeyed. Fundamental human rights, you don't go and close people's shops without, I mean, they were even saying there were no search warrants. People will go to their stores, just close them, break them up. And this is the situation that we have in our hands at this point. Well, in Abia State, NAFDAC has ruled out reopening shops owned by traders suspected of dealing in fake and expired drugs. The agency said the crackdown is part of efforts to rid the market of substandard pharmaceutical products, stressing that public health remains a priority. Rufai.
So, see, Professor Kira was bang on it when he said that they should, sue. We have a scourge.
Yes.
I think the number is saying over $1 trillion industry worth of substandard goods. But also, we must also understand that there's a right of the people. You cannot say because you want to effect these sweeping reforms, you're also going to hurt the innocent ones. And that's why I say you must have a very clinical approach to it. Also, they must be able to account if there was a case of theft, because we've seen most of these things. And most importantly, another point I've been raising is, if NAFDAC said they did see USAID drugs in pharmaceuticals, the chain has to be investigated to get to the end of the matter. But you cannot say, because you want to punish those that are doing things illegally, you don't have copious intelligence, then you sweep everybody. No. So they have a right to sue.
Yeah.
Many more legal cases will go on. Yeah, they are suing based on fundamental human rights.
Absolutely.
Also, I would have wanted a case where they can actually get something more copious to even sue on. Because, yeah, fundamental human rights is quite general. But also, probably loss of productivity,
yes, I
loss
think all
of
that
revenue,
is part of the lawsuit.
and all of that.
Yeah,
so,
loss of revenue
because we cannot allow this happen.
Absolutely.
The other part is the fight of NAFDAC valid? Yes. Because also when you look at it on the other side, if you see people that are dying based on these illegal drugs or these substandard drugs, it's only when you have somebody close to you that is affected you will know it. I have seen many cases where in the bid of saving life, those drugs destroy their lives.
Yes.
It now also goes back to the quality and the standard. And I'm also going to come at NAFDAC. It also goes back to what heralds NAFDAC, their own personal process for giving people NAFDAC number.
Yes.
Because I think that system also needs a lot of review.
Unwrap joy, unleash taste.
There are many substandard products that get through the crack of that system and they get the NAFDAC number.
Right.
How did that happen?
Right.
What about the internal corruption in their own system? I think these are things we should also talk about. And based on the Naseni case, I wasn't sure. I had to double check myself. It's also best we work at that because...
It's also best work at...
The Naseni case of producing helicopters, it's also best we work at that because I know that South Africa already produced helicopters.
All right, fantastic.
So if we say we are the giant of Africa...
We should.
We should be able to ace this. There's so many things we ought to do that we are not doing. Not in great capacity, but there are manufacturing production companies for helicopters in South Africa.
Well said. I wanted to touch on NAFDAC. You know, one of the reasons why Professor Akunyili campaigned heavily on these illicit drug trade was because one of, her sister died from it. And, this whole clampdown eventually led to her death. And now we are seeing Professor Adeyeye almost following in the same conversation, saying there are threats to her life. At this point, it's only been what? How many, like within a year that she's been doing this? Really strong. Yeah. And I want to call on the security forces really for this particular case. Yes. We cannot lose NAFDAC DG.
Remember we called this that her life would be under threat.
Yes.
You cannot take on a whole industry and not expect that there would be kickback. It's corruption fighting back. And, for her to now come out and I don't think this is the first time, but it means that things have really intensified since her war against fake drugs. Yes. She's absolutely spot on. And I do believe that until you're wearing these shoes, you won't understand just how badly this is affecting a lot of Nigerians. And that's why she called for the death penalty. And she took on what some people would say was a very draconian closing of all the shops because of the state or the level of decadence in that industry. But I do think that there should also be common sense and interest of nation and economy when you're making these decisions. But as has been said, we are all watching. This woman should be given the highest form of security. Nothing must happen to her. She is saving millions of lives.
Absolutely. Well said, Ayo. Well said. We'll take our final story now in Anambra State, where native doctors have taken to the streets in protest over Governor Soludo's ban on their practice. The governor had recently outlawed the activities of native doctors, citing concerns over their alleged involvement in criminal activities, including ritual practices. But the protesters argue that the ban is unjust and threatens their livelihood. Let's take a look.
The traditional native doctors. I didn't when I got. Na government house na I own the traditional native doctors. Anambra State. Nigeria. The Anambra State. I tell you in peace, I shall like I just for governor. I mali him melon. I do and I'm a treaty. I would do. They might intimidate. I can go. In their mind, phone up our canonship, so better when I dig or do what I do one
All right, they said they come in peace. I mean, I could not believe the amount of number of native doctors that were tripped out. But quickly, Ayo, you were saying they don't believe in their powers. They said that if they arrest them, they can disappear from prison. They should disappear. Well, I mean, that's on a light note. They don't believe in their powers.